Hey guys, Anthony Romano here, and I'm going to show you my keto bulking progress. Okay, so basically, it's not like I've been too, meticulous with my measuring of this stuff. It's simply been stuff that I keep general notes for, and I've kept a very strong focus on measuring my lifts and whatnot. But right now I'm doing a lot of bodyweight training because everybody's at home because of all the illness. So essentially, I'll show you guys some progress update on my physique because I've basically just been lean bulking, and I've noticed that my body fat has went down and my muscle sizes went up. So I'll show you this progress. This is the thing that you could expect from a keto bulk, basically. Okay, you still got muscle size. In fact, I've noticed that it's growing, and when you look at leanness, it's also still there. Still lean, but the muscle size is definitely growing. And I've actually prioritized building certain muscle groups, and I've noticed physical increase and strength increase, which is the only thing you could really ask for on any bulk. But yeah, so that's basically the physique update there. I'm 6 foot tall, not a short guy. My arms are long, so it definitely looks leaner when they're lankier in that way naturally. I was a skinny guy, but when we're talking about how much you notice a keto bulk, you never tend to notice a keto bulk or a lean bulk in general as much as you notice a carb bulk or a dirty bulk, right? Not saying they're synonymous, but they're related. They cohabituate with one another. So when you're doing a dirty bulk or a carb-intensive bulk, you're always getting extra water retention because carbs retain water. You're also getting sodium, extra water retention. You have a combination of the two. And of course, you're more likely to build fat. So at the same time, if I have a bicep growth, right, that I can notice, I can tell while I'm still lean, sorry for the armpit, gratuitous armpit hair. You always will notice basically, little nuances with a keto bulk, but compared to a carb bulk, if your arm looks an inch bigger but doesn't look slightly less cut, of course you're gonna think you're building more muscle because overall you've added more. You probably gained an inch just from water retention over a couple of weeks, right? So it's about quality, and keto optimizes your sensitivity to insulin, right? It optimizes your sensitivity to the body's most anabolic hormone. And at the same time, I believe there's other benefits, like example, it reduces your amount of basically nitrogen wasting, so protein wasting. It also increases the amount of circulating BCAAs in your bloodstream. So I can get into those, and you can download my whey protein guides, you can download my programs to learn about these things, okay? Check my website to see what's out and what isn't, because some things are free, some things are not. And I'm trying to help people as much as possible with this because you can totally do this. 23 years old, natural bodybuilder, keto bodybuilding for 8 years, training in general longer than that. Really bodybuilding in general, 10 years. But overall, you don't have to be a special somebody to do this, okay? All you have to do is start off with a good keto diet, get used to it, get adapted, okay? And once your body's better able to build using fat as the fuel, essentially, you're going to notice exploding gains. And I'm making videos on this topic soon. But one of the biggest cholesterol, authorities, I guess I'll talk about, is Dave Feldman. So Dave Feldman has this work on lean mass hyper-responders, is what he calls them. Basically, people with a certain cholesterol profile where they just add lean mass like crazy. And the main driver of that theory is that keto can kind of optimize your cholesterol in such a way if you do it right for a long enough amount of time. So the reason why the whole theory of why is your cholesterol going to affect that is because, first of all, cholesterol is the builder of all your hormones. And at the same time, basically, when your body is better able to transport fats, that's the transporting of a fuel that is double the amount of energy as carb, 9 calories per gram for fat. If your body is better able to transport fats, it's basically like a moving fuel source at all times, right? Of a very high, powerful potency. So that's basically the gist behind that and where I'm going to be taking this, logically on my page soon, right? And philosophically. But the main thing is that keto bulking is a real thing, and I'm bringing it to the forefront for the next few years for sure. I want to be ahead of this because everybody who I've worked with who does this, it's just a game changer, okay? Even if you don't end up doing fully keto eating afterwards, it actually sensitizes you to carbs, so your carbs, in a, you know, sustainable way, in a way that actually benefits you, instead of just makes you more insulin resistant, more likely to build fat, more likely to incur metabolic problems, okay? And funny little side note, I'm not a, you know, zealot against calorie counting. In fact, I believe calorie counting and hormones are the two sides of the metabolic coin. But people tend to focus only on calorie counting. And when we're talking about the muscle building context, when we're talking about muscle building and only looking at calories, you're only looking at the quantitative side. You're not looking at optimizing the quality, optimizing the hormonal context of the body as a whole. And oftentimes, people will just say it's unsustainable to do a keto diet, or it's unsustainable to, you know, eat this no sugar for a while. You're gonna crash. That's what people say. That's the argument they throw out. But they never tried it. They don't realize that our body is designed to be in the keto state at least half of the year, okay? Carbs don't grow in the winter. They simply don't. You can't get sugar. You can't get fruits. They don't last longer than a week or two in ripeness. Let's call it 2-3 weeks at most. They don't grow in every place. They don't grow anytime longer than the summer. Okay, they aren't even ripe until the summer, okay? So in an evolutionary context, we're not meant to have carbs all the time. And it's not as if we're just meant to bulk for 2 months out of the year, okay, when the carbs are available. So essentially, even though you can ferment carbs, etc., that's not the point. The point here is that people will say, oh, keto isn't sustainable, right? You should have your pizza at the same time and have your carbs in place, right? I've tried those things. They suck. I'm going to bed hungry every night. I'm gnawing at my arms, my ankles, because I'm just starving. And that's because your body is receiving the signal that it's having sugar all the time. And sugar is meant to be addictive. It's meant to be something that we have when it's available. It's a luxury fuel. It guarantees that you're going to survive because it's more likely to store fat. It's guaranteeing that you're going to have an insulin rise and you have a higher propensity of staying alive tomorrow because your body is a survival machine. So when we're looking at, you know, is it sustainable? It absolutely is. The other alternative is if you're doing a carb bulk and you're trying to, you know, keep it clean. That's basically like me telling the smoker, oh yeah, just have, you know, have a couple cigarettes every day, you know, have your junk food every day, and basically, you know, because you can't cut them out. That's unrealistic. What I'm telling you to do is cut them out entirely, and then yeah, eventually, occasionally, at events of whatever, have your cigarettes, okay? I mean, shitty example of smoking, but the point is that with carbs, people think it's unsustainable to cut them out for a period of time, when in reality, it's more unsustainable to have them in small doses all the time. It's like giving a cigarette smoker small doses of cigarettes every day and expecting them to be stable. It's like, no. We are designed to have addictive mechanisms in our body. It keeps us alive. It helps us to have, you know, going through these seasons metabolically. So that's essentially the point of this one. When we're talking about keto bulks are going to sensitize you to insulin. They're going to make you more sensitive to that cigarette hit. You know, next time you're there, they're going to make you more sensitive to the anabolic effects of carbs and anabolic to muscle tissue, not simply just fat, because newsflash, the more fat you have, not only are you less sensitive to insulin, but you have higher propensity of storing fat because you have more aromatase, which is an enzyme that turns testosterone into estrogen, and it's stored in fat cells. You have less, there's a direct correlation between testosterone and the amount of body fat you have, the amount of fat around your waist. Your insulin sensitivity is directly correlated with testosterone. So, and that's good for men and women, okay, by the way. So, overall, keto bulks are plausible, they're practical. It's the baseline. I'm not telling you to, you know, give up the idea of having sushi dinner when you're bulking. No, I'm telling you that sushi dinner is going to be even better anabolically to your muscle tissues when you have keto as your baseline, because that's basically how it's meant to be in our body. Carbs were always less available more often than when they were available. So they're naturally meant to have an addictive spike mentally, an addictive reward response because they were scarce. Okay, so they are designed to be scarce in our diet. That's how we grew with them evolutionarily. So otherwise, think about it. Like, why would we have such an addictive response to them if they were available all the time? All right, we would just be obese as a species. Okay, so huge truth bombs there in like 4 minutes and 5 minutes, maybe the last 5 minutes. There's so many truth bombs. Okay, so I'm telling you, keep keto as your baseline. It's going to sensitize you to carbs. Okay, it's going to get you lean and cut first. It's going to minimize your propensity to add fat because it's going to increase your insulin sensitivity. It's going to decrease the amount of aromatase you have. It's going to increase your testosterone by even just by virtue of you cutting body fat. And that will prime you to be more anabolic to your muscle tissues as you're bulking or carb backloading bulking. There's plenty of ways to have fun with this. In the bulking context too, you don't have to be, you know, perfectly keto all the time, but many people end up staying that way because it's just so sustainable. It feels good. And you might be one of the people, or you might know one of the people who's saying, oh, I could never do that. Everybody says that because that's the physiological response we're designed to have to sugar. It is meant to be addictive, and if you tell somebody, you know, oh, cut out carbs for a while, they're gonna find it daunting. So anyways, that's it for this video. I think this was one that hit it right on the head for keto bulking because it is possible, and I gave you some huge truth bombs and tips as to accomplishing it. Watch my other videos. Let me know other questions and other, you know, concerns you have down below. Thank you. Anthony Romano. Peace.